All right, everyone, good to be getting into the week 5 lineup builder video here for you guys, touching on my favorite stacks, fades, and values. Let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so let's go ahead and start out with kind of probably one of the games that everyone knows that they should be targeting. It's going to be the KC versus Minnesota game. Going to be one of the most appealing games on the slate. It's going to be high scoring. The issue is going to be the price, and it's going to be tough to fit in these players. And for what it's worth, guys, season-long leagues, try to acquire Travis Kelce, and if one of the Kansas City receivers, any of them that are like going to get significant playing time, are available on the waivers and you have a waiver wire spot, pick them up. They have a tremendous schedule. Like, try to acquire Travis Kelce. He hasn't exactly dominated, but going forward, they have like 4 of the best matchups possible you could ask for. Okay, that could be the difference between you making or missing the playoffs. Just want to toss it out there. But looking at it for stacking opportunities, obviously Patrick Mahomes, I actually probably prefer him a little bit over Kirk Cousins, although Kirk Cousins I fully expect to have a good game. So let's just look at it that way. Like, we'll go with Kirk Cousins, a little bit cheaper. I don't know if we need to be playing any of the running backs, which I personally like, because then we can just go Justin Jefferson. Then this is where it gets interesting. A lot of people are going to be rolling with Rice. They think he's going to be a good value. And I'm not saying that that's wrong. I'm going to go ahead and say, though, Kadarius Toney, I think I like the most because no one's going to be rostering him. He still didn't play a lot of snaps, but he was on the field a lot at the start of the game, and they just didn't really play. I'm wondering if that is more of a snap count thing. Like, they were trying to limit his snaps because he was coming in off of an injury. Didn't play that much against the Bears because of an injury, and that's just the story with him. It's more risk reward. I would say the safest play is actually going to be Sky Moore, but that's just the thing. We don't know which player it's going to be. We just know that one of them could have a good game, could have a massive game, especially going against Minnesota. And so that is where I think we are getting some sort of value. We might not know which one it is, but we know that we want to be on one of them. Like, here's a simple solution that you guys can use the 9-to-5 lineup optimizer for. If you're trying to run out that stack, you'd be like, when a lineup includes Patrick Mahomes, I want exactly one of his receivers, whether it be like MVS, so Valdez-Scantling, Sky Moore, or Rice. Like, it's probably going to be, a lot of people are probably going to end up on Rice. I get it. And then also Toney. Like, I think that this is the smart route to go about doing it. Heck, you could even toss in Justin Watson into that as well. The point of this being that you are saying when the lineup does include Patrick Mahomes, I want at least one of those pass catchers. I think that's a strong way to go about doing it as well. So now whenever we were to, I'll show you guys this. I'm going to just click lock on Patrick Mahomes. So here we go, guys. We'll see that, yeah, it's probably favoring Rice a decent amount there. We could go to players, see the exposure. Rice 80%, then Toney 20%. So like, if you wanted to cap that, you could cap that at like 25% Rice, and that way we're getting more exposure to them. But just want to show you guys that route. And when I'm going through this, like these are the things that I'm doing when I'm saying I'm running out of stack. I'm going into the settings here and I'm running out those player groups specifically for those quarterbacks. So like for Kirk Cousins, I'll show you guys that one as well. Type in Cousins. It's going to be probably at least 2 of, we'll go Hawkinson and Jefferson, and then maybe Addison as well, or KJ Osborne. Like, that's the way I'm going about doing that stuff. All right, so let's move on into another game. This is probably going to be the easiest stack. Everyone's going to be calling out this one. I know it's not really a hot take or anything like that, but I do think Zach Wilson, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, Tyler Conklin, pretty simple there. Very good matchup against Denver. I want to just put some caution there. This is kind of the Nathaniel Hackett revenge game. Sean Payton been talking a lot of crap, but at the same time, you would imagine that some of the players and whatnot know what to expect from Nathaniel Hackett's system, and maybe there's something there. We're hearing a lot of news about Trey Lance providing a lot of input as to the expectations for the Niners offense and even defense. Yeah, that could happen with Broncos as well. So if it doesn't go off, like, I guess it would make sense a little bit. I do want to talk about the Rams as well. This is going to be a sneaky game stack as well. We got Matthew Stafford at a cheap price tag going against the Philadelphia Eagles, who have really struggled. Matthew Stafford finally had 300 yards passing with a touchdown and not too many INTs, able to get 220 DraftKings points, and now he's going to get his best playmaker back, maybe. Puka's been dominating. But a lot of people are asking about Cooper Kupp. I'm going to pass on him this week. I still think we're going to see Puka Nacua be the focal point in that offense, and we're getting him at such a cheap price tag. To me, Cooper Kupp is going to take over for Van Jefferson's role in this game, so he's going to be the one we want to stay away from. At the same time, he is cheap. And we do see Tutu Atwell. I still think he's going to have a role. Maybe he sees only 6 targets in this game, and I do think he's going to be a little bit priced up with Cooper Kupp probably back. Tyler Higbee is going to be an interesting play as well. He's going against the Eagles, who have given up a lot of production to opposing tight ends. I personally think that that's going to be a very good sneaky stack there. And then just kind of another interesting stacking opportunity. It's actually going to be Daniel Jones Jones going against Miami. And I know it was very ugly last week, but let's just talk about kind of the Thursday night football game again, because I mentioned that Justin Fields and the Bears were kind of poor man's versions of what the Washington Commanders had seen in the previous weeks offensively. You look at the Eagles, running quarterback with a pretty good tight end, two receivers that can make big plays, although Justin Fields couldn't hit the second receiver in Darnell Mooney. But like schematically, they kind of fit. That's kind of what we have here as well. Miami going against Buffalo, kind of got destroyed by them. A kind of quarterback that can run the football, kind of a smaller receiver that they want to get the ball to in open space, and Wendell Robinson. And that's kind of where the comparisons end, in all fairness. But I do think that there's a way that the Giants saw that and are like, all right, at least we know how to attack them, right? Maybe. Like, it's not a stack that you're going to love. It's going to be a low-owned stack because he looks so bad. The rushing was there for him. He just needs to get a couple of passing touchdowns. Barkley, I think, is expected to be out. We still have Wendell Robinson at such a cheap price tag. Darius Slayton still played a lot of snaps. Jalen Hyde actually played a lot of snaps there as well. It wouldn't be surprising if Daniel Jones finally hits him on a big play. This is a very cheap stack that's going to suck more times than not, but at the same time, could it hold some GPP winning upside? I do think there's like a 2% possibility there, and at least you're going to be overweight on the field if you're running that out. From there, let's just continue on. I think that this game right here has a very good chance to be a sneaky good game for fantasy point. Ryan Tannehill, I would say I would want to go with over Anthony Richardson for the specific game stack. I do think we want some appeal to Anthony Richardson just in general. I just don't know if I want to attach him to like a stack. I think he's going to be a good solo option. From there, I will say Jonathan Taylor at 6.8. I know he's going against Tennessee. Just signed a massive contract. They're committed to him. That's what that tells me. Zach Moss has been productive in this offense while looking terrible. Like, he has went off, guys, and he didn't look good. He looked bad. And I hesitate to say that if there's any Colts fans watching this, but I think they kind of get it. Like, a lot of the times he's just running into his own lineman, really not hitting a hole quick. Like, I feel like anyone that was watching that was like, man, just imagine what Jonathan Taylor would be doing right now. That was me. I'm like, gosh, just give me a gasher or a guy that can hit a hole, and they're going off. Now, that's not to say Zach Moss, he has his own certain little style, and it works for him, and it worked for the Colts there. Don't want to bash him too much, but it wouldn't be shocking to see Jonathan Taylor have a good game. That's more of a solo, low-owned type of thing. For the stacking purposes, you're kind of just easily clicking here. I think Westbrook is still very cheap here. I mentioned him in last week's video as a sneaky good value play. He's going to be another sneaky good value play here. Ryan Tannehill loves him. And so if you're playing Ryan Tannehill at the quarterback position, you also want to be playing him. Tight end wise, probably just staying away from, but I think this is a very kind of sneaky good stacking opportunity there. And then you could also toss in maybe Josh Downs, Alec Pierce. They're both very cheap. Let's go with Downs for now. Very good little sneaky game stack there. And then that's kind of it. You could run out some like Houston small stack there. I feel like that's pushing it a little bit too far. We've hit on that the last couple of weeks. We don't need to do that now. Let's move on into my favorite values. All right, so I already kind of mentioned a couple of my favorite values. Let's just go ahead and talk about it. Really what I'm looking at is going to be quarterbacks that are under 6K. Daniel Jones meets that threshold. Matthew Stafford meets that threshold. I think those are going to be two good starting points, but really you're just looking at either Ryan Tannehill or Zach Wilson. I think we're definitely favoring Zach Wilson in that regard. If you're searching for some value at the quarterback position, it's going to be him. Running back wise, we're searching for anyone under 5K. Okay, we can start at 5K with Gus Edwards. Could be a sneaky good play there. I don't mind that. Jaylen Warren, if you think about game script there, a lot of people are expecting Pittsburgh to get blown out in this game. If that occurs, we do expect Jaylen Warren to get a little bit more work in the pass game like he has. Last week he had 6 targets for 6 receptions, 11.5 points. That could occur again, and if it does, could be an okay option. I don't think he's going to break the slate or anything like that. I still personally think Gary Brightwell is better than Matt Breida. Probably not a thing there, but maybe he pops. And really, guys, that's like kind of it. Like, you got P. Ryan there. Certainly going to be someone you're looking at. A lot of people are looking at McLaughlin, where I'm not saying that's wrong, but P. Ryan is probably going to be the first option. I think we should just be rolling with him if Javonte Williams is out, and I'm expecting him to sit. So then P. Ryan would actually be the play there. Not sexy, but could easily get you 10 points. Maybe he falls into the end zone as well. It's not like P. Ryan has looked bad either. It's just they love McLaughlin there. That's a typical Sean Payton thing. He finds players that he likes and he uses them. Receiver-wise, we're going to be looking at under 4K, and there are a ton of options this week. Like, I already mentioned Josh Downs could be a sneaky good play. Going to get targeted decently. Michael Wilson, a lot of people are going to like. Had a big kind of breakout game against the Niners. Probably gets a similar matchup. I feel like that's more of a trap. I don't think we need to roll with it. Jalen Hyatt can be playing more snaps. I do think he's a sneaky big upside GPP winning type of potential, more or less just because it takes one deep ball for him. And if he's going to be playing over 50% of the snaps, especially in this matchup where they're most likely playing from behind, I do think that there is something there. Rice, a lot of people are going to be flocking to. I think I'd rather just roll with Westbrook as well. I think he's a little bit better of a value, and they're going to be in similar matchups. He's going to be playing 85% of the snaps with Treylon Burks out. Ryan Tannehill loves him. He got him 6 targets last week. He got him 7 targets the week before that. With Burks out, it just makes sense to me. Then obviously, unfortunately as well, Wendell Robinson, everyone's flocking to him. He's about 20% owned. He might end up being the highest owned player on the slate. I mentioned on the preview video, I'm like, please just don't like have an eye-poppingly good game. Please still be a sneaky option, because he was pretty low owned on that showdown slate. I was really shocked at his ownership as well. I thought that was one of the obvious value plays, and that just echoes this season thus far. It's like all these values that I thought were obvious plays, especially showdown wise, have been low owned, and which has been super nice. But then we see like the next slate, people then realize that they're probably a little bit behind the curve there and maybe overvalued a little bit too much. Actually, I would say at 20%, he's still probably a little bit too low owned. He's going to be the receiver number 1 and probably their best option if Saquon Barkley is out. So yeah, easy value play there. Tight end wise, looking at tight ends under 3K, Noah Gray's the first one I want to call out. Had a big play for us showdown wise again. Very low owned, shockingly as well. I thought that was obvious play. Got 3 targets in that game. That's kind of the norm with him. Yes, we are trying to get lucky with this play, but it's going to be a higher scoring game once again. And he's playing about 40 to like 60% of the snaps. And so, you can get a decent amount of maybe production at a cheap price tag. I don't mind that, but really I think the play here is going to be Washington for the Pittsburgh Steelers, expected to start in this game, and I keep clicking the wrong guy. With Pratt Freiermuth being banged up, he's going to be the guy. So if you're searching for value at tight end, I don't mind that. And then guys, we just go ahead and take a quick peek at the ownerships for this week, talking about maybe who's slightly overowned. I'm not going to say any of these guys on the top end are going to be overowned. Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, they're super easy to fit into your builds. Even Bijan Robinson, like those 3 players are super easy to fit into your builds. That's because Wendell Robinson is going to be a super easy play to fit into your builds. I thought Marquise Brown would actually be a sneaky option for us. Not looking like it. I will say these 2 ownerships for Kamara, Joe Mixon, and even Jamar Chase seem to probably be a little bit too high. I would say AJ Brown, that ownership probably a little bit too high to me. The 3 running backs that we want to be on are going to be Robinson, Breece Hall, and David Montgomery. I don't think we need to differentiate from that too much. That's pretty obvious. Travis Kelce makes a lot of sense. It is actually pretty easy to fit him into your builds, especially if you're choosing not to play Jefferson or Tyreek Hill. And I say or, not and. You're playing one of those 2. And then I don't think we need to be playing it's a little bit shocking, some of these ownerships that we're getting. I would say Kyron Williams could be a little bit higher. I expect Breece Hall to be higher tomorrow. Probably one of the chalkier plays, but he should be. Garrett Wilson, I'm a little shocked at that as well. He's going to probably be one of the higher owned players on the slate. If he is that low, let's take advantage of that one. Same thing with Zach Wilson. Man, if those low guys are going to be low owned, I actually might go in on that a little bit more than I should. Then what's help, right? Now guys, typically I would show you guys the lineup builder video and maybe another build. I've ran out a bunch of builds. I've already showed you guys the core plays as well. If you guys want access to the lineup builder, I showed you guys how to go about operating it at the start of the tools as well. Link to that's going to be in the description below, but that's going to be all for this video, kind of running out of time here. Thanks for watching. Let's have a good slate, and as always, let's keep cashing.